A little bit excited, a little bit nervous. It kind of feels like I'm opening up again for the first time.
It's the moment many local businesses have been waiting for. We've got the green light for stage 3, but some say it's going to be a scramble to get everything back up and running.
It gives a lifesave.
To really be able to, save an individual is a blessing.
A Windsor man saved by a local nurse. We'll tell you about the scary moment with a fortunate ending. A heat warning for Windsor-Essex and Chatham-Kent. They're both included in that across southwestern Ontario, feeling like 40 out there with the humidex. Colette Kennedy joins us with the full forecast tonight. I'm Chris Hensing. Thanks for joining us. It is official. Windsor-Essex will be joining the rest of the province in stage 3. Starting Wednesday morning, people can do a bunch of things that they haven't been allowed to do in months. Now, under these new guidelines, gyms, the casino, and libraries are examples of things that can reopen. But indoors, there are limits of 50 people. So that said, they can open, but we don't necessarily know if they all will. Outdoor gatherings, those are limited to 100. No changes for religious services from stage 2. Live shows, they can start up again, but with significant safety measures in place. Physical distancing, enhanced cleaning, and plexiglass barriers, some examples of what they will need. Most of the province, they entered this phase about a month ago. A major reason for this low case count that we've had recently was something that got us to stage 3, but it was the growing COVID-19 cases in Agri-Farm that kept us in stage 2. Stacey Janzer joins us live. These are big changes that are happening quickly for people you've been speaking with today. Are they ready for this?
Well, plans are underway for stage 3. You can eat inside once again. Businesses I spoke to say it's going to be a struggle to get ready by Wednesday, but it's one they're happy to have. Now, on a pre-pandemic Wednesday here at Rock Bottom, inside would be filled with customers. There'd be people lined up waiting to get inside. This Wednesday, it'll be a bit of a different experience. Walking into Rock Bottom today, there's a route to pick up takeout and go, but soon it'll look different.
It'll probably be every second table someone can sit at.
Even though there's a lot of work and calls to make before they're ready, they're happy to get back to a more normal scene.
It's going to be a bit of a scramble, I'm not going to lie. And then we got to call back some staff, which is going to be exciting because a few of them have been waiting to hear for this phone call.
For now, they say they'll be operating at half their usual capacity.
I think we're going to see how we go. And then if we have to change something to make it run more smoothly, we will. But, reservations wouldn't hurt. Because we're going to have to be taking everyone's name and number anyways.
But will they come?
Keep everything closed until they get a handle on this stuff.
Obviously, it's awesome having lunch with my son today, Ryan, being outside enjoying the nice outdoors. So I think I might kind of be a little bit hesitant on doing that, but I'm sure I will try it.
Personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I have a lot of pre-existing conditions and stuff. So I would still do takeout and cook at home.
Some businesses like Two Wave Spa have been open, but with limited services.
Now we're moving into the next stage, which allows us to do eyelash extensions, eyebrow waxing, lip waxing, facials, all of those great services that our clients have been waiting for.
And they'll be following the protocol set out by the health unit. Lippert says the services they provide for customers help with mental health too.
They come here to feel better about themselves, and a lot of clients have been missing those services that help them feel their best. And a lot of services are stress relieving for our clients.
Businesses say they're learning and they'll be adjusting to make things as safe as possible. Now, it is everyone's first pandemic, so they are doing the best that they can.
Now, you had mentioned the business owners there. They seem happy to be moving into stage 3, but there's some news that families might be enjoying as well. Some more public spaces could soon be available?
Yes, playgrounds will once again be available for children to climb on. Early this summer, we spoke with Jill Thompson. She's the mother of a young daughter. Back then, she was petitioning the city to reopen some of the playgrounds early. She didn't succeed then, but now she's happy.
It's been really hard because she's an only child. And she's really excited to go back to school, and she misses her friends, and she whines a lot. So she always wants to go to the park and do fun things. It feels amazing. I can't say that she hasn't snuck into the park late at night and had a swing, but it feels good to know that we can do it, and we've got the blessings of the city to do so.
I'm sure she's not the only parent excited to let their children back out on the playground, but parents should be aware they should keep their children's hands as clean as possible because under the provincial framework, there is no requirements for cleaning that equipment. Chris.
Thanks to Stacey. The CBC Stacey Jans are live tonight as Windsor-Essex prepares to move to Stage 3. Now, we know that a key reason why Windsor-Essex was kept in Stage 2 for so long was because of the cases in the agri-farm sector. The local health unit says that today the outbreak is under control at the farms that it's dealing with.
There are obviously new farms, new cases that continues to come. And our team and the health system partners, we all work together to manage and contain it. So far that's been going well with the additional support that we've received from the province through EMAT, through Ontario Health, through Red Cross. So all of those partners are working together to support the agri-farm sector. And based on that, we can say that it's fairly managed and controlled at this time.
Windsor-Essex has had more than 1,000 COVID-19 cases among farm workers. 2 workers from Mexico have died. CBC asked Premier Doug Ford today about what deciding to move into Stage 3 tells us about the situation in that sector days before he plans to visit.
I think it's getting much better. We have more testing, and we have the mobile units going to the farms, and we're testing every day. And I just want to thank the farmers. I want to thank the workers and the mayors, Mayor Santos, Mayor McDonald, and especially the people of Essex. They're incredible people. I absolutely love them, and I can't wait to get back down to Windsor. I know I went to Essex last time. Now I want to see all the folks in Windsor on Thursday. So I'm really excited about going down there and see the people. They're incredible people down there. And I just want to get them back on their feet and help them any way we can.
Lebanon's prime minister has announced his government's resignation. It comes nearly a week after the massive explosion that devastated much of Beirut and after days of angry protests. Demonstrators blame the country's ruling class for decades of widespread corruption and negligence. Lebanon's president accepted the government's resignation, but he also asked it to stay on in a caretaker role. Tuesday's explosion in Beirut's port killed at least 200 people. The CBC's Rebecca Collard is in Beirut with the latest.
The
Lebanese prime minister has resigned tonight, but people are still in the streets and they are still very angry. They say after this blast on Tuesday that killed so many people and destroyed so much of their city, they want new elections under a new electoral law. I'm just going to show you behind me, the army now is coming towards us. We're just going to move out of the way. They've been trying to clear these protesters off the streets for hours here. Here they are. Let's just walk with them. I don't know where they're running, but as you can see, still a very tense situation tonight on the streets of Beirut after this resignation. People are angry. People are telling me they are going to stay in the streets. Beirut is devastated. Beirut is mourning, but it is also so angry. Rebecca Collard, CBC News, Beirut.
A scary moment for a man in Windsor with a happy ending. Mike Russell is a quadriplegic who began choking on his lunch and couldn't breathe at his care home. A nurse from Windsor Regional Hospital just happened to be there that day and jumped into action. The CBC's Jason Vio brings us the story.
That's how Mike Russell remembers a local nurse who saved his life. Just by chance, Mohammed Nasser was bringing a patient to the Monarch House in West Windsor on the morning of July 9th. It's a place for men with acquired brain injuries. 59-year-old Russell is paralyzed from the waist down and has very limited function below the neck. And when Russell began choking, Nasser's instincts kicked in.
So that's when I reacted as fast as I could.
Nasser unstrapped Russell from his wheelchair and began performing the Heimlich maneuver, a challenge because Russell cannot stand on his own.
With a lot of, strength and positioning, I was then able to start to hear him breathing. And then at that moment, I was saying, Mike, please keep breathing. Come on, you're gonna make it through this. Keep breathing.
But still, that piece of food remained lodged in his throat. Nasser began getting exhausted from holding him up, so he placed him on his side and tried again. That's when a piece of the wrap Russell was eating came out.
It was at that moment Mike started crying. I was just so overwhelmed with joy just to been able to save his life, and he's so loved here. And
staff described Russell as a caring jokester.
This guy bruised my ribs.
Windsor-Tecumseh MP Eric Kuzmarchuk has even recognized Nasser for his community response. Nasser has been a registered nurse for 6 years and has only had to do abdominal thrusts twice in his career.
I mean, anytime someone's in your arms and they're not breathing, it's a scary moment. But this is what I'm trained for, and whether I'm in the hospital or I'm in the community.
But the most grateful of all is Russell, who shared a smile with Nasser when they reunited. Both say there's now a special bond between them.
The kid's a lifesaver.
Jason Vio, CBC News, Windsor.
The group that regulates Ontario doctors is investigating complaints that a pediatrician is spreading false information about COVID-19. At least one of those complaints comes from another doctor, but as Katie Nicholson shows us, other people are voicing concern as well.
Dr. Michelle Cohen has gotten used to seeing claims she finds misleading about COVID-19, just not from other doctors.
Certainly I was shocked when I first saw those tweets.
The tweets she finds troublesome are from Ontario doctor Kulvinder Kaur Gill, like this one, which says, if you have not yet figured out that we don't need a vaccine, you are not paying attention.
To start fomenting distrust of a vaccine now, before one has even arrived, is quite dangerous. Basically setting the stage for people to already reject a vaccine.
Gill has also tweeted about hydroxychloroquine as a defense against COVID-19, something the Canadian Pediatric Society says has no significant benefit. That tweet was taken down over the weekend for violating Twitter's rules. She also tweeted, there is absolutely no medical or scientific reason for this prolonged, harmful, and illogical lockdown. It was all too much for this BC family doctor who filed a complaint to the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario, which sets regulatory standards for doctors.
This is a threat to me and my practice and my professional integrity here in British Columbia. It's a threat to my 1,500 patients to have a Canadian licensed physician promoting misinformation that is harmful.
Gill's tweets sparked fierce debate. Some even tagged the regulator. The CPSO doesn't comment on ongoing investigations, but in a statement said, questioning the value of vaccinations or countering public health best practices during COVID-19 represents a risk to the public and is not acceptable behavior. Physicians who are found to be spreading misleading medical information that may bring harm towards patients can face practice restrictions or suspension. Dr. Gill did not respond to CBC News' multiple requests for comment, but on Twitter she has said, there are always opposing views in medicine. There must always be open, constructive, public debate, and the voices of physicians and scientists must never be attacked, censored, or silenced. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
An 18-year-old is living out his lifelong dream after being named the new announcer at Leamington Raceway. Nathan Bain called his first race when he was just 12 years old, and since then, he's been mentored by some of Leamington's veteran announcers. But while Bain's currently announcing to an empty grandstand because of COVID-19, he's very grateful for the opportunity.
Third is Kaden coming out, same Destin Hanover, using fourth, number 6, same last year as the 6th. It's how they keep two, still struggling in the back now as they pull by the half.
Well, definitely I want to be an announcer in the future, so I mean this is a great stepping stone here at this track to get practice and just learn more about the industry. It's just a great place to start for a young person. Other competition that should be very tough in here is the 5. Keaton, Garrett Rooney coming off a solid second, 156 flat. You gotta be clear, you gotta be accurate, and you gotta know the horses, you gotta know the drivers, just saying their names right, and accurate's probably the most important thing, being clear.
We're the ones that kind of brought him along, and he's just matured. He's a wonderful young man, and I think he's doing a heck of a good job.
The announcers that he reached out to who were willing to mentor him and help him I mean, a few of them come to mind, like Shannon Sugar Doyle in London, Marty Adler here at Leamington Raceway, who obviously has an amazing legacy with Windsor Raceway. So he's gotten a lot of help and a lot of calls. He had 100 calls for his 18th birthday.
Wow. There he is.
Yeah, there he is. Sounds great.
It's pretty cool. I'm just so thankful I get to do this, and just to do it is sometimes it doesn't feel real because it's just something I wanted for so long. So, like I said, it doesn't feel real at any time. So, just hopefully have a good future in this industry.
Now, the track expects that spectators will be allowed in once Windsor-Essex enters Stage 3 on Wednesday. Until then, Bain's commentary can be heard during online streams of the races. Speaking of sports, a little bit of news here. Got a slight change of schedule for tomorrow. You will be able to watch us for your local news coverage at 5 o'clock instead of 6. That's because CBC will be airing the NHL playoffs. And for more on what fans can expect, Greg Ross will have those upcoming games, the Leafs' heartbreaking loss included in that, and Colette Kennedy will have our full forecast and an idea of how long this heat wave might stick around. Toronto Maple Leafs, what can you say? A big comeback win followed by a deflating playoff-ending loss. Greg Ross has more.
And so Game 5. Another disappointing game, another disappointing series, and at the end of the day, another disappointing season.
It's definitely a bad feeling, bad taste.
It's obviously very disappointing. Lots of mixed emotions.
There's lots of things that we would like to have done better, lots of things that I would have liked to have done better.
And there are a lot of things fans would have liked to see them do better as well. Instead, it's more of the same.
It's like a sinking feeling that you get at a certain part during the game that we've been here before, and it is very exhausting. And you don't want to have that thought of, they're a losing team.
Doug Radford is a diehard Leaf fan who every year sets up a big screen in his backyard to watch the Leafs in the playoffs. He's been doing it for 15 years now and has yet to see the Leafs actually win a series.
Only 2 teams in the whole NHL since the cap era started have not won a playoff round, Toronto and Florida. And there's a vast difference. One of them is a big money team, and the other one is a budget conscious team that plays in the South.
But Sportsnet.ca hockey insider Luke Fox says after 3 straight years of getting knocked out in the first round, this year was supposed to be different for the Leafs.
It is a step back. This is the first time in the Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander era that they haven't been part of the final 16. It's a step back.
It was a season that saw Leafs GM Kyle Dubas fire his high-paid head coach Mike Babcock and replace him with the coach he wanted, Sheldon Keefe, who took over the team that Dubas had built.
This is his plan. I mean, if it doesn't work soon, I think ownership will get impatient. And I don't think it's another coaching change. I think it's Kyle Dubas's job on the block next.
Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
And joining us now for a live look at the weather is Colette Kennedy. Colette, I was in Leamington for most of the day today, and I cannot explain how much makeup is showing this red forehead in this light instead of the tomato that it looks like underneath. It is embarrassing. That heat wave is, it's here.
It's a real thing. Yes, that is true. And boy, you know what though? The thing is, it's going to be changing very soon, and that is as soon as tomorrow, because there is a cold front on the way, and that's going to be kind of our transition day on Tuesday. But I'll show you the numbers from today. Average highs and lows are at the top, but these are the numbers from today. So the high unofficially 30.2, the low here not very low. Those, if you don't have air conditioning, those overnight lows don't make it that easy to get some relief and get some sleep at night, especially with the humidity when you add it on top of that. So the heat warning in place when you have numbers like that, but it will likely get lifted tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, by tomorrow evening, because it's going to be, like I say, kind of that transition as things start to change up. Current readings look like this. Current humidex values, though, closer to 40 in terms of how it feels. Some active weather to the north, but to the west as well at the moment. Now, this is important because, with the daytime heating and the sun and energy firing these up out ahead of the cold front, as we get towards the later hours and losing that energy, these will weaken as they're getting closer to us. So that means that just some remnants may make their way in overnight. But then the sun comes up tomorrow, things start to fire up again. And so that's when we start to see some of the thunderstorms coming back. So we have the risk tomorrow, but a lot of it pulls northward as well. So actually the active weather, or the higher risk for seeing severe weather, is going to be more to the north and to the east of us. I'm not saying there's not a chance in here that some of the thunderstorm activity around our area couldn't be severe. It certainly could be, but the greater risk, more moderate risk, is actually past us. So I put it at a slimmer chance for us into southwestern Ontario, so more minor, but just know that it is there, okay, for tomorrow. So we'll be watching that, of course, carefully through the daytime. Later on into the evening, it is actually going to be moving out of here, and then we get into some really improved conditions after that in a couple of days, where we get to take a bit of a breather and lower humidity. So there's your 5-day forecast, because I'm out of time here. I want you to get a look at it, but not seeing showers coming back till a little bit later. So we get a couple of days where things are going to be more comfortable, Chris.
Perfect. Love it. Thanks, Colette.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, coming up after the break here, we have a story about one of the most high-profile critics of Chinese rule in Hong Kong, and who's been swept up in the region's new national security law. That's next. One of the most high-profile critics of Chinese rule in Hong Kong has been swept up in the region's new national security law. Media tycoon Jimmy Lai was taken into custody today during a raid on the offices of his pro-democracy newspaper, Apple Daily. Freelance reporter Richard Kimber has more from Hong Kong.
Another dramatic day of Hong Kong politics and controversial arrests being made against pro-democracy activists at the headquarters of media tycoon Jimmy Lai. Jimmy Lai arrested in the morning Hong Kong time. 200 police officers came to raid the headquarters shortly after that, leaving with boxes of documents as part of their investigation. This arrest has caused some celebration among pro-government local groups who see Jimmy Lai's media operation as a source of troublemaking, stirring up dissent among young people in Hong Kong towards the government, but also this arrest causing widespread condemnation from the pro-democracy camp here, who are very supportive of Jimmy Lai being brave, in their words, to continue to stand up against the government and against Beijing at this time of heightened political sensitivity here. There's also concerns that this plays into the much wider narrative of continuing deteriorating relations between the US and China, because just hours after all of this arrest and police action took place here, Beijing came forward with its own sanctions against US senators in retaliation to the US's own sanctions against Hong Kong and Chinese officials that came into force on Friday. So very difficult and increasingly difficult to separate the domestic actions of the police and protesters against the government with these more international relations playing out between the US and China. And in both cases, both internationally and domestically here, there's really no yet sense that there's going to be any de-escalation of the frustrations that exist between the two sides. So as it stands, after another dramatic start to the week here in Hong Kong, it's set to continue for at least the next few days and probably the next few months as well. Richard Kimber for CBC News, Hong Kong.
We have some breaking news that we want to tell you about. U.S. President Donald Trump was abruptly escorted by a U.S. Secret Service agent from the White House briefing room and returned minutes later, saying that there was a shooting outside the White House that was, quote, under control. We'll have more for you at cbc.ca and on News Network as well. It's 6:29 p.m. That's it for CBC Windsor News. And we leave you with a final look at businesses that are gearing up for Stage 3. Don't forget, tomorrow's newscast is going to be at 5 p.m. instead of the usual 6. And that's because of playoff hockey, which, as you know, the Leafs are not a part of. Make sure that you tune in on our website as well, cbc.ca/Windsor for the latest. Thanks for watching. Power and Politics is up next, already in progress. Make sure you and your family have a good night tonight.